Okay, the student athletes are coming up. We ask you to please raise your hand, and we'll have a microphone brought to you to ask your question. And we ask you to please identify yourself by name and by media affiliation. How you guys doing? Welcome in the student athlete representatives from St. Mary's. From my left to right, we have junior forward Calvin Hermanson, junior center Jock Landale, and senior guard Joe Rayhan. And we'll open up the questions to our student athletes.
Tim Burrell, the Richmond Times-Dispatch. Jock, with all the Australian players that you've had come through St. Mary's, how did you find out about the school?
I was on the under-19s team in China with Emmett and Dane. I think that was probably the first time I heard them was when they were recruiting Emmett. I'd kind of always known a little bit about St. Mary's just because it's pretty significant back home in terms of college basketball, and a lot of people want to come here. It's kind of the go-to spot for Australians. So Emmett was the first person I saw get recruited there, and then you hear about Maddie Delvedova and Patty Mills and stuff like that. So yeah, it's basically just through the other Australians who have come through St. Mary's that we hear about it most.
John Kuhn, Sports Exchange. You come into this tournament as a team with the #2 scoring defense in the country. What do you feel like has allowed you guys to be so successful in just shutting one opponent down after another this season?
I think most things we try and limit teams in transition. So a lot of teams that score big get a lot of transition buckets, and we try and make sure to get back on defense and stop transition. That's first of all, and then the other thing is do a good job on the boards, limit second chance opportunities, and also just kind of pay attention to scout and know player tendencies and really focus in on there.
Kareem Copeland, AP. Guys, what have you seen on tape from VCU and what stands out, and I guess what you guys got to do to get through that first round?
They're good. They're really good. Defensively, they're really good. They get after you a little bit. Kind of mix it up. They'll full court press you man-to-man, 2-2-1. They'll pressure you man in the half court, or they'll play zone. So they got a bunch of different things they can throw at you. So big thing for us offensively is going to be just taking care of the ball, move it, kind of do what we do, but a big emphasis of taking care of the ball, which it is every game, but against them especially, it's going to be important. And then for them offensively, so for us defensively, they attack the paint, and their guards are good. They get into the paint, and they're really good on the boards in terms of offensive rebounding. So you got to try to do a good job as for us guards to limit penetration so our bigs don't have to help too much. So when the shot goes up, they can box out their man because they're really good at going to get second, third shot opportunities. So if we can do a good job in that area, then we'll feel pretty good. But it's going to be tough. They got a lot of guys that can throw at you.
Vic Tafer from the Chronicle San Francisco. Joe, talk about Emmett and Air and just your chemistry together and how you guys have developed kind of a nice relationship in the backcourt.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool to be able to play 2 years with them and kind of just play a lot of minutes together. So at this point, we kind of know how each other's feeling, where we're going to be, where the pass is going to go. So it's kind of, you talk about a little bit off the court in terms of our styles, and we'll talk about how we're trying to attack teams, what we think's best based on the film we watch and the personnel they have. But a lot of it's just kind of a feel on the court that you develop over time. And we both like to get our teammates involved, which I think helps, where you have two basically point guards playing on the court at the same time, and we're comfortable playing on and off the ball. So there's never been like a headbutting contest for who gets to bring the ball up the court or who's coming off this many pick and rolls as opposed to that many. And so it's been really nice and a pretty easy relationship, and it's been fun to be able to go through these 2 years with them for sure.
Kareem Copeland again, AP. Is it odd to have, just 4 losses, but 3 came against the same team? And also on top of that, does it give you a little bit of confidence considering that one team is, the #1 seed in the bracket or in this region?
It's a little odd. I think we all would say that we'd like to have gotten Gonzaga at least one of those times, but Yeah, I think we do have confidence. We have confidence every time we step on the court, and you know, this environment's no different. So we're excited to go out and compete against some different teams and see what we can do.
Tim Burrell, the Richmond Times-Dispatch again. Either Joe or Calvin, are you surprised at 28-4 that you were a 7 seed?
You know, we don't really think about it. Like, I know a lot of people talk about, oh, the criteria for the NCAA tournament is this and that, and people say it changes every year. And as players, you just kind of go out there, play who's on your schedule, and you try to win. And you kind of going in, we saw the projections for it, because as a player, at least for me personally, I had no idea where you're going. I knew we were top 25 in the country, and going into the championship game against Gonzaga, I think we were like 19 or 20. So if you just do the simple math, you're like, okay, we're around a 5 seed if you're the 20th team in the country. So around there, and then people were projecting us as a 6, 7 for the most part. So we just kind of expected to be in that range, and we ended up with the 7. And yeah, as a player, you try not to focus on it too much. You kind of just enjoy the moment when your name gets called and you see your name pop up on the screen. You kind of just one of the happier moments you've felt as a player, and then you find out who you're playing, and then you enjoy the moment probably for the rest of Sunday, and then Monday you kind of focus in and try to figure out how you're going to beat your opponent. And for us, it's VCU. So we weren't too concerned about the seed, and weren't going to gripe about, oh, we wish we were a 6 or whatever. We're happy to get in, and we're excited for the challenge on Thursday.
This is for Jock. You mentioned how St. Mary's is the go-to place in Australia. How about March Madness? Is that a big deal over there, the tournament? People watch it and pay attention to the tournament?
Yeah, we basically get the same coverage you guys do. We had the 24-hour marathon on and all that kind of stuff, and it's a pretty big deal. I know back home, my family and stuff are talking about how there's a whole bunch of people having like watch parties and stuff like that. Yeah, so no, we get like basketball is slowly becoming a bigger and bigger part of Australian sports culture, and I think it's like NCAA March Madness and NBA and stuff like that. It's all definitely thriving back there. So yeah, people get around it just as much as you guys do.
Yeah, Chuck Culpepper from the Washington Post. Jock, after all these years of this, about 16 now, how much of an expert is your head coach on cricket, rugby, wallabies, Aussie rules, Melbourne Cup, and
He has no idea about any of that stuff, I don't think. No, he tries to act like he's got the Australian culture down, but I don't think he does whatsoever.
Okay, any more questions for our student athletes? Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys.
And good luck tomorrow. Head coach Randy Bennett will be up here shortly at 4 o'clock. I'd like to introduce St. Mary's head coach, Randy Bennett. First, we'll begin with an opening statement from Coach Bennett, and then open it up for questions.
Yeah, we're just excited to be part of the NCAA tournaments. Really difficult to get in this event, and we've had a great year, and so we get to play a good opponent, VCU, and we're really excited and looking forward to playing tomorrow.
Okay.
John Coon, Sports Exchange. Looking at just the defensive success that your team has had this year, number 2 in the nation in scoring defense, where does this group rank for you as the head coach in terms of their strength as a defensive unit?
Yeah, it's probably this year this is probably one of our best, if not our best, defensive team. These guys have done a good job, just kind of improving from week to week, and I think as a group they do what they're asked every day, and I can't tell you how far that goes. They're really coachable and they have great attitudes, and I think that's why we're good defensively. I think that's why we're good at the other end too.
Hey, Randy, Tim Burrell with the Richmond Times-Dispatch. How did you get that? What was the genesis of the Australian pipeline for you?
It was lucky. It was we took a kid my first year when I came in there. I got the job in April, and we still had 2 scholarships in August, and there's a kid from Australia. They had some Division IIs recruiting him, but he wanted to come over here, and we were like the only Division I offered. I'd never seen him play. So we took him. His name was Adam Caporn. He ended up being good, and he told us he had a buddy back home that was 6'10" that he thought might be able to help us, and he ended up being all-time leading scorer at St. Mary's. His name was Daniel Kickert. So from there, we just and that was lucky. It was a stroke of luck that we came across that. We were smart enough to develop that pipeline, and Patty Mills showed up sometime shortly thereafter, and then the floodgates opened.
Vic from the San Francisco Chronicle. Joe mentioned how having 2 point guards kind of interchangeable helps you guys out a lot. How much does that help you in terms of your offense and getting the looks you want on offense?
Yeah. We're 2 smart point guards. Those guys are really they're coaches on the floor, so it helps a lot. I don't really have to discuss much with them during the game. They're pretty much running it out there, and so it's yeah, we played that way before. We had McConnell and Delvedova. It's very similar to that. Same kind of guys, high IQ guys. They just take care of the ball and get us in things offensively. They're making calls on their own out there. So it's yeah, I think it's probably the biggest key to why we're successful offensively.
Tim Burrell again. What are your impressions of VCU, and what do you need to do well against them?
My impressions of them are we know their program as far as just national tradition. They're good. You're in, you're out, and I think every school in the country knows VCU basketball is a high level. So, and it has been for a long time. So we have a lot of respect from that way. I have never studied the program up close. We've never played them. So it's fun to finally get to see a team like that and study them and watch film on them, trying to figure out what makes them special. And a lot of things. It's never one thing, but they force 14 turnovers a game. They're quick. They get after you. They're opportunistic defensively. So I think that, and they're a load on the boards. So they can get the game up tempo, and they're very good rebounders. And a lot of teams have good athletes. These guys are good rebounders. They go after the ball. They do a great job coaching rebounding, because it just doesn't happen. You just don't get guys that go and get the ball. You have to coach it. So those are the things. I think they get after you defensively, and they get steals. They make it hard. There's no easy passes, and then when the ball goes up on the rim, they're pretty tough.
Kareem Copeland, AP. What makes Jock so unique and special and led to his success this year?
What led to his success is he worked hard and he has a great attitude. So I would say that across the board on our team, and as good as I've been around as a coach. But he wanted to be good, so he worked at whatever it took. It wasn't like we were pulling teeth to get him to work hard. He's very willing to be coached. He's very willing to make the sacrifices he has to be good. He dropped about 10 pounds. I'm not sure if the pounds made the difference as much as the getting in shape, and he became more athletic. And so he's 6'11", and I think when we got him, he's like 275, maybe a tad more, but he's about 253, 254 now. So he just became a better athlete. He used his body that way to get better athletically, and that helped him defensively, which enabled us to put him on the court more. And if he's on the court, he's going to do some good things offensively. He has always known how to score. Now he's improved. And our assistant coach Marty Clark is very good with developing bigs, and he's spent a lot of time with Jock and the other bigs. But Jock's just improved. He's improved because he's worked. He's become a better passer. He's unselfish. He's really improved as a defender. So, yeah, there's a lot of things he's done, but most of it is just his attitude towards, hey, this is what I need to. He's the guy who comes to me and says, Coach, what do I have to do to be better? What do I have to do to go to the next step? And I'm not talking about NBA. I'm talking about the next step as a player that can help you win a conference championship or get you the NCAA, and he did.
Lynn Worthy from the Salt Lake Tribune. Coach, VCU has done pretty well in some close games. They had a couple of games that they pulled out, I think, with like a second left. What does a team, or does a team take something from success in close games throughout a season like that?
That's funny you're asking me, because we have had hardly any close games this year. So you get confidence that you can play in those games, I think. You've been there. You're not nervous. You know you can win them, and they are. I've seen it. They've been down 16 or 17 recently, and they come back and they get that game down to a 2-point game and have a shot to win it. So that's one of the things that we commented on as a coaching staff is these guys they're hard to get rid of. They keep coming. And I think some of it's the style they play. They're just going to keep coming at you defensively and on those boards and in transition. And obviously they have some guys that are stud leaders that have high belief. And I would imagine, I don't know their team like their coach does, but I would imagine their point guard Lewis is one of those guys. So, yeah, you win in those games gives you confidence in case you're playing another one.
Greg Hansen, Arizona Daily Star. What's the process of proper film study for a game with this quick of a turnaround?
This first game? Well, actually, for this first game, we have a lot of time. So we found out who we played Sunday. I don't know. You need 2 or 3 days to get a pretty good prep on them. So we feel like we have enough time. I don't know. We went to work on it on Monday. So we'll watch film Monday, Tuesday, today. And you're starting to, for us, probably 48 hours before we start sharing that with our players. For the first, coaches have to figure out what the heck we're going against, and then we try and get our players gradually to have a feel for the team they're about to play. And like today, we watched film for the first time of them with our players. So we pretty much kept it the same way we do every game in the season. That's the one thing I don't want to do. I don't want to rattle my team and start watching film with them for 3 days on an opponent. We never do that. So I don't know the right way. I know what we do, and I know what works for this team, so that's what we did. The tough turnaround is if you win and you play Saturday, because you don't have much time. You're just going to do the best you can with that one.
Right down here.
Kareem Copeland, AP. Are there any positives that you took from the fact that 3 of your 4 losses came against the number 1 seed in the region?
We only lost to 2 teams all year. That's the positive. That's about it. We would like to get one of those, at least one of those games off them, but we didn't, and they controlled all 3 of the games. I'm just gonna tell you, they're good. So, we didn't play well against them the 3rd game in the first half. The other 2 games we played decent against them. So that'd be it. I mean, they're good. If we'll see what happens. See how we can do Thursday. And I think our guys, even though we lost our last game to them, I think our guys, they understand they're playing against a good team when they play Gonzaga. So I think our confidence is fine. I don't think it damaged us that way.
Okay. Oh, there you go, right back there.
This is this group of players' first time in the tournament. Do you address that as a coach, or do you just let the moment kind of take care of itself?
It's a concern because playing in the NCAA tournament is unique. There's nothing like it. So I can try and tell them, hey, this is what it's like, and I have, just these things, media sessions, whatever. You're 40 minutes on the court. All those things are different. There's nothing like it. The excitement, I mean, you're hearing about it every day at school, the brackets, the whole thing. It's one of the biggest sporting events in this country. So how do you prepare some guys, some guys who've never been in it, and some guys, 7 of them who aren't from this country for this event? I don't know if we just try and keep things as norm as we can. But I have talked to him about it, and I've talked to him about we have to be ready to compete. You can't go to the NCAA tournament just to play. If you do, you'll be going home after the first day.
Okay, any more questions for Coach Bennett? All right. Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck tomorrow. Okay, at 4:30, we will have the Arizona student athletes on the dais, followed by Coach Miller at 4:45. What? Not yet. I'll let you know. Arizona How's it going? Doing good. Welcome. Okay, this is the 4:30 press conference with the University of Arizona student athletes. From my left to right is Kadeem Allen and Parker Jackson Cartwright. And we'll go ahead and open up to questions for our student athletes.
Hey guys, this is for both of you. Your fan support is legendary across college basketball. So I wanted to ask you, how nice is it and really important is it that you guys were able to play your way to the 2 seed, stay out west, and give all those fans a very easy trip to come support you and see you play?
Yeah, you know, our fans have done a great job all year of showing us support no matter where we play. So, you know, us being in the West, we know they're going to come out and show a lot of support.
Yeah, I just piggyback off what he said. They've been supportive for however long the program was, and, you know, they've been with us every game, every tournament we've been played, and like I said before, I think they're the best fans in the country.
In your own words, can you explain Sean Miller's coaching style?
You know, he's very competitive. You know, he want to get after it. Doesn't matter who we play, what time we play. He just want out there he want us to go out there, give our all, and just play hard.
He's very unique. You know how he approaches every game, every practice. You know, he brings that passion, that sense of urgency every day, and you know, he wants to win, and you know, it shows, and everybody just wants to follow him and do whatever he says because we know he knows what he's doing.
All right, for both of you guys, Kadeem, you're the senior leader on this team. Parker, you've been around for a while. You guys have a lot of newcomers, a lot of guys that have never been to the NCAA tournament. It's a different feel than the Pac-12 or even the conference tournament. What do you tell Lowry and Kobe and Raleigh to make sure that they're calm and ready to go for this kind of thing?
Just to stay in the moment, you know, not take it for granted, not make it any bigger than it already is, and just to have fun. You know, not everybody gets this opportunity, and you know, to come in as a freshman and to be a part of something like this is really special. So, just for them, just to do what they've done all year, really, and you know, they should be fine.
Kadeem and Parker, Chris Comrani with the Salt Lake Tribune. You guys were getting along fine with Alonzo out, but how did his return kind of change the landscape of your season once he came back and was able to give you guys an uplifting, you know, presence toward the end of the season?
I feel he added more depth. I feel with the same team he was once before when he was out, and when he came, he just added more to the team. Allow other guys to rest more during the game. More minutes been cut down, but everyone's accepted that role. And, you know, we're here now, and we're just ready to make a big run in the tournament.
For both of you guys, hi, Dan Wolkin from USA Today. Having been around the program for a while, how would you describe sort of the atmosphere that you guys have to deal with day in and day out with regard to having not made a Final Four yet, and just sort of the pressure that comes with, you know, you guys trying to break through in that regard?
I mean, you know, everyone adds pressure. I think it's our job to kind of just, you know, honor each day and approach each day the way it is, and work extremely hard. And, you know, if we honor the process and not cheat a day, you know, our goals and what we want, you know, will be very clear. But we don't add any more pressure than anybody else does.
Guys, obviously in a 15-2 game, you're heavy favorites. I'm sure coaches reminded you a bit of that 15 seeds have won in this tournament before. Just curious what you guys are kind of telling each other in the locker room, what coach is telling you in terms of avoiding any kind of letdown and potential upset to the team tomorrow night.
You know, it's just like every other game, you know. Go in with a mindset and perspective to play hard and win the ball game. But, you know, in the tournament, there's a lot of upsets. Actually, me and Parker talked about it today after practice, how we have to keep reminding these guys how any game you can get knocked off. So, you know, just come prepared, focused, and, you know, just do what we do.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if your identity all year, you know, has been, you know, not to take any opponent for granted and just to honor each day and work extremely hard, then, you know, you're not worried about getting upset. You know, we know in March anyone's capable of winning a game. So, you know, when you have that mindset, you know, you can just go out and really play hard.
Christopher Deek, Arizona Daily Wildcat. So looking forward at North Dakota, what have you guys seen on film, and how are you guys going to deal with the combo of Crandall and Hooker in their backcourt?
They're a very talented team, you know, but we've been playing against talented guards all year. It's not new to us. You know, we just come in with the perspective and the details of the game, how we've been doing all year, and just come ready to battle and have fun out there.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, they wouldn't be here, you know, if they weren't good. We respect them a whole lot. And, you know, they play at a very fast pace. They have a good coach. They run a lot of good action. So, you know, it's like any other game. We have to be ready and prepare to play.
Ari Alexander, KBOA News 4 Tucson. Lowry had that 8-game slump where he went 5 for 28 for 3 and then picked it back up in the Pac-12. There's not a lot of 7-foot guys who can shoot like him. What can you tell everyone that's watching this tournament about what Lowry is like as a player and how he kind of fixed his shot?
Yeah, I mean, Lowry's a great shooter, you know, and, you know, he wasn't going to make them every game consistently. And he did it consistently pretty much all year. You know, he hit a slump, but, you know, it just took him that one game, that one shot to really get it back going. And since that's happened, I think every part of his game has really flourished since then.
Okay, any more questions for our student athletes? Okay, we've got one right over there.
Guys, can you carry over the momentum from a conference tournament championship, or having been a part of, you know, last year's team? Is that kind of a sobering reminder of how quickly things can go south on you in March Madness?
Yeah, last year we faced the adversity, and we know how it feels to lose in the first round. So, like we said before earlier, you have to remind the young guys how easy it is to get knocked off. And, you know, it was good winning the Pac-12 tournament. We beat 3 good teams, and, you know, now it's time to move on, face other opponents, and just bring our best game, and hopefully we can get the job done throughout the tournament.
Okay, any more questions for our student athletes? Okay, gentlemen, thank you. Congratulations and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay, Coach Miller will be on the dais at approximately 4:45. going to start a little earlier with Coach Miller. Again, a reminder, if you have a question, please raise your hand and we'll bring a microphone to you. And please identify yourself by name and by outlet as well, please. Okay, introduce University of Arizona head coach Sean Miller. We'll start with an opening statement from Coach Miller and then open up to questions from the media.
Well, we're obviously very excited to be here. The NCAA tournament is something that I don't think any of us ever want to take for granted. And here at the University of Arizona, we have such a storied tradition that, sometimes you can almost be made to feel like it's a given. But because of the parity in this game and the change from one season to the next, I think all of us, fight hard to be able to return each and every year. So we're excited to be here. And I think we're showing up with a great group of kids, hopefully playing our best basketball on the heels of our Pac-12 tournament championship. And certainly know we're playing against a very well-coached championship team in North Dakota here in round one. And we're excited to face them tomorrow night.
Okay, questions?
Kareem Copeland, AP. Sean, you just mentioned closing well and playing your best basketball at this time of the year. What has gone so well during this last stretch to end the regular season and end the conference tournament?
We've gone through a lot of different injuries and things that I think can derail a team during the year. Some of our games that maybe we could have lost, we found a way to win while our team was getting healthy or maybe waiting for Alonzo to return. But we've had for the first time a really good stretch of health, and we have all of our players playing, and now we've had a time together as well. It's not as if we've just come together for the first time for a week. We've been together for maybe a month or so when you consider all of our players. And with that, I think we have depth, and on a given night, it's not just one guy that we're counting on. We really have gotten contributions from everyone. And I think that's what's so special about our team to this point is that we really have had a total team effort in building the success of the regular season.
Ari Alexander, News 4 Tucson. Sean, last year you went all the way to Providence. This year everything is all west. How much does that help logistically staying close?
It helps a whole lot, especially Providence obviously was far away, but you earn your seed, you earn your location, and I'm sure that the play of our entire season in the Pac-12, what happened this past weekend, allowed us to be here in Salt Lake City and have a seed like the number 2 seed. We love being here in Salt Lake. It's in the footprint of the Pac-12. Our players have been in this city many times. Our fans are able to travel here very easily. And really for our own team, logistically, like you had mentioned, we're here in an hour flight, which there's a lot of teams in this tournament that don't have that. So now it's up to us to take advantage and perform well.
Sean, hey, Dan Wolkin from USA Today. You mentioned taking things for granted. I'm wondering, how much maybe do you take for granted what you've accomplished in this tournament when so much of the conversation is often about what you haven't accomplished, i.e. getting to the Final Four?
Yeah, for me, much has been talked about, the end, but I think the older you get as a coach, the more seasons you have under your belt, you deal with different groups. It's so much about the journey. It's the beginning of the school year, which for us at Arizona starts at the end of August and early September. And, you work towards the beginning of the season starting, which let's call it mid-October. And, you reflect now, we're 6 months from that period of time, and a lot happens. And So I think the success of the entire journey, the entire regular season, has to be taken into consideration. But at the end of the day, all of us are judged by what happens in March. And I think for us to duck that or look at that as not being the case is somewhat unrealistic. For us, it's you have to advance. You want to take advantage of a good seed. You want to play your best basketball in March. And if that happens and you still don't advance or win, then I think all of us walk away with our head held high and, we'll put our ball away and come back next year. So I try to focus more on that. Clearly, the goal is to get all the way to the end.
Sean Saul-Booker from the Arizona Daily Wildcat. How would you describe your own coaching style, and how do you manipulate it based on who the player is and how they respond to your criticism constructive?
I think all of us as coaches, we try to be ourselves. If you're not who you really are, I don't think it works. So, for me, I'm more of a passionate type of person or coach, kind of put all the eggs in that one basket. In terms of our style at Arizona, I think that, the players first and foremost are at every decision we make. I think if that's the case and you're working hard to develop them off the court, in the classroom, on the court, teaching them the game, allowing them to understand how hard success is, that's really what we try to do. And each player is different. Sometimes tough love is needed. Other times a lot of encouragement is needed. And that's, I think, part of the trick of being a good coach or a great coaching staff. Learn your learner. Learn what makes the player tick and what can bring out the best in each player. So that's really how we go about it.
Right there.
Christopher Deek, Arizona Daily Wildcat. Coach, how much in your preparation this week have you reminded some of the older guys about last year's first-round loss, and how much have you talked to the freshmen about what that was like?
Wichita State last year, they made our program better. They really did. And, ironically, they're playing my brother at Dayton in this year's tournament. So that, and what I mean by that is it's not just that we lost in the first round. Sometimes that happens. As much as nobody ever wants to have that first round exit, this isn't a 7-game series tournament. This is, you have to be at your best in that first 40 minutes or the next 40 may never come. But Wichita State a year ago, they were bigger, stronger, they were better coached, they were more ready, they were tougher. In the first 8 minutes of that game, it was over. And just because you're from the Pac-12, or in our case, maybe that we had gone deep in this tournament in previous years, doesn't mean that it's going to happen again. Each year is different. So I think that we had quite a few players that experienced both, a deep run almost to a Final Four and a first-round exit. So I don't really have to remind them a lot of it. I will tell you that there's a lot of different things that game taught us, and hopefully the lessons learned from a year ago will help us here tomorrow night.
Ari Alexander, KVOA News 4 Tucson. Sean, what have you seen on film with North Dakota?
Well, North Dakota, they run some really, really difficult to guard offense. They're fast into what they do. They have a lot of movement, a lot of different ball screens. And when you have a lot of movement and it's fast, and you have, I think a number of very good players. I think their guards are as good of a tandem as maybe we've faced, especially when you look at their production. They combine for, I guess, about 35 points per game. Everybody on their team seems to know their role very well, and they score 80 points per game. So we're really going to be challenged in defending them, and I think that's been a big focus the last couple of days. On defense, predominantly a man-to-man team, and they get their hands on a lot of balls. They get steals, they deflect, turn you over. They use their defense to get out in transition. So, we have to really be smart and take care of the ball when we have it on offense. But very well coached, tough team. When you win your regular season, which we did, and then you win your conference tournament, I think it says a lot about your heart. And I think they're a team that has a big heart. and it's going to be a tough game.
Kareem Copeland, AP. You mentioned getting everybody back has, obviously helped during the stretch run. What has Alonzo specifically added?
Well, Alonzo, I believe, is one of the best guards that's playing in this tournament. His numbers speak for themselves. He's shooting very, very close to 50% from the field. I think in the high 40s right now. He's above 40% from the three-point line. And not only is it 80% from the foul line, but he really gets to the foul line. He's always been able to do that. But the thing that I'm the proudest of him, and I think the thing that our team appreciates the most, is how he has learned to pass the ball, play with others better than he ever has before. His assists are up. And defensively, he's given us a rock-solid defensive player. A year ago, as a freshman, he was finding his way. And he learned a lot through the season a year ago. It's just we've waited a long time to have him this year. But once he established himself, got comfortable, I think he really has put it all together. So, to answer your first question about us playing well, and it's no coincidence that as he's played his best, it's brought out the best in our team as well.
Okay, right back there.
Christopher Deek, Arizona Daily Wildcat. Going back to the matchup tomorrow, can you elaborate more on their backcourt duo of Crandall and Hooker and some of the problems it might pose?
Well, Crandall and Hooker, like I had mentioned, they do it both on defense and offense. If you look at their steals, they really disrupt the other team. And I think they combine for about 5 steals a game. But they're pesky. You could tell they set the tone for their defense. And on offense, they can both score and make others better. And they're always using ball screens. They can shoot the three-point shot, especially Hooker. And in transition, both guys thrive. I mean, when they're coming at the basket, a lot like Alonzo, Kadeem, Parker on our end, a lot of bad things happen for the other team. So getting back in transition, taking care of the ball, and really understanding how good they are as players. A lot of times, the difference maybe from one conference to the next isn't at the guard position. It's maybe the overall size or depth of size from maybe a conference like the Big Ten and some others. The guards, if you add them up, you really can't tell the difference. And I look at those two guys as two guards who are really terrific players.
Right down here.
Ari Alexander, News 4 Tucson. Earlier in the year, Kobe was playing really well, lots of minutes, and then the last few games he hasn't played as much. How has he handled the lack of minutes, and what does he need to do to make sure to get back on the court and make an impact in the tournament?
Well, Kobe's attitude has been incredible. He's a great teammate. He's a really, really good kid, loves the game. And, our team would not have the record that we have if he didn't have the type of freshman season that he has had. And, recently he hasn't played as much. That doesn't mean that he won't have a big role. He certainly is going to have a role tomorrow, but that role can change and grow. We've shrunk our rotation a little bit. We've given some players more minutes, maybe others less. But that's not really a reflection on Kobe as a player or his attitude. Part of what we've talked a lot about this year is the 3 constants on our team have been the 3 freshmen. Raleigh Alkins, Lowry, and Kobe. It's not just their overall play, but their attitude, how much they love the game, how hard they work in practice. And a lot of times the freshmen that are highly touted, they come with a lot of drama and a lot of unknown. And it's not until you coach them that you see all the different things you have to teach them. But in their case, Kobe being one of them, their maintenance is as low as I've ever seen it. And that's part of how we've been able to get through a lot of the different, obstacles that hit us this year.
Okay, right down there.
Yeah, Sean, Steve Rivera, Go Easy Cats. In this time of age, it's instant gratification for the kids coming in and get out real quick as soon as they can. What does it mean to have a guy like Kadeem and PJC who have stayed the course and kind of been here for a while?
Yeah, it certainly doesn't reflect anything else maybe in life that you're going to be looked at as a failure if something magical doesn't happen in the first 7 months of college. You know, really, if you think about it, I don't know if there's anything else you can compare. But, you know, in some cases, if you're a highly touted young player and for whatever reason it's not in the cards, that first spring that, you know, you can become an NBA lottery pick, you know, there's almost like, well, what's wrong with you, or what's wrong with the place that you chose, or, man, it wasn't a good fit. But in reality, if that same kid just stays with it a year later, and I'll give you Alonzo as an example. If I would judge Alonzo as a player, leader, teammate a year ago, although he was very talented, he had so much to learn. You know, even though he's gone through a lot this year, who he is in this year's NCAA tournament, it's like going from a young boy to a man. I mean, he really understands things much more. But Kadeem and Parker give us that for sure. They've both been with us for 3 years. And, you know, talking a little bit more about Kadeem, because this is truly it for him. He's the one senior on our team. He embodies all of the qualities that every coach would love to have, you know, in a senior leader. He's a great teammate, hard worker, tough. He doesn't really care about what position he plays. We've asked him to guard the other team's best perimeter player. He's taken it as a personal challenge. And it's not really like what he says every day. It's what he does. And our team really respects him a great deal. And that's one of the things that I'm optimistic about coming into the tournament, that I do think we have a great, great leader, and certainly others like Parker next to him that can help him lead. But, you know, Kadeem, he's 2 credits away from graduating. It's going to be a great story. He's come a long way in that area as well, so he's done it both on the court and in the classroom.
Do you have time for 1 or 2 more questions for Coach Miller? Okay. Coach, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Best of luck tomorrow. Okay, at 5:15, we will have the VCU Student Athlete Press Conference. Okay, we're a couple of minutes away from starting the VCU Student Athlete Press Conference. Okay, student athletes are coming up. Again, reminder to please raise your hand. We'll have a microphone brought to you, and please identify yourself by name and affiliation. Introduce the VCU student athletes. 4 days press conference from my left to right. Senior forward Mo Ali Cox, senior guard Jaquan Lewis, and junior guard Jonathan Williams. And now we'll open it up for questions for our student athletes.
Well, not everybody at once.
There you go.
Be from the Salt Lake Tribune. For Jaquan, you guys have played in a bunch of close games this season, including back-to-back games where you guys won with almost no time left. What's it like to go through those situations and win, and how's that, or has it affected you guys going forward in terms of your confidence or how you approach games where you're either close or when you're trailing?
It just gets us prepared for big games. You know, when you're playing good teams, it's going to come down to the wire. You know, you're not really going to blow them out by a lot of points. So you got to follow through with the details and, you know, execute the game plans. And Coach Wade did a phenomenal job of drawing up plays for us to execute at the end of games, and we just did a good job of following through with it.
Again, Lynn Worthy from the Salt Lake Tribune. For Mo, what do you feel like you guys just have a whether it's a confidence or a belief that allows you guys to sort of come back when situations look like they could go the other way? What is it about this team that sort of allows you guys to play well and to come out with close games?
I would say just experience. We have a very senior-heavy class this year, so we've been in a lot of close games over time. And this year, I mean, we just have that never-give-up attitude no matter we're down 10, 15, or 20. We just have confidence in ourselves that we can always come back and right the things that were going wrong. It's just looking in the mirror and just looking at what's not going right and just flipping the switch and changing it. And Coach Wade's real good at making adjustments, and also we have a lot of experience that we see what's going on the floor and we can adjust it ourselves. So we just always going to timeouts. We try to be positive, have positive vibes going through, and just trying to come out on top whenever we're in those situations.
Kareem Copeland, Associated Press. What stands out to you guys when you look at the tape of St. Mary's, and how do you counteract that stubborn defense of theirs?
Okay, we'll have Jonathan answer that first.
You know, they're real disciplined and they're very patient on offense, and so it's just we just try to speed them up, take them out of like their normal game, and make them play faster than they want to play.
Yeah, I mean, they're a really good team. They're well coached. They have a lot of veterans on the team, so they know how to kind of control the game at their way and play it at their pace. So we just got to do a good job of cutting off the three ball. You know, they shoot the ball really well. They're a great shooting team, and we got to do our best to speed them up. You know, we can't really have any mistakes on defense because they'll make us pay for them. So as long as we stay connected and follow through with our defensive plan, we'll be in good shape.
Hey, do we have any more questions for our student athletes? Okay.
Guys, you played in this tournament every year you've been in school. What's the most fun of traveling and coming to this? I guess for Johnny and Mo, for all you guys, if you want to answer.
I would say just going to new cities you've never been to before and just getting a brand new experience being in new places. I mean, we've gone to Portland, San Diego, we went to Tulsa last year, and this year we're in Utah. So you've just seen a lot of new things that you haven't seen before, and then just the atmosphere here, the energy's like real high. Everybody's real excited to be here. So you know you're ready to have great competition every game.
Yeah, I mean, it's been better and better each year, you know, just because, you know, you're not promised to be here. And so when you hear your name called and you just get so excited and have so much excitement running through your body. You know, you're happy for yourself, you're happy for your teammates, you're happy for the city, your school, and so we just want to take it all in and do whatever we can to keep dancing.
I mean, I agree with what they said. You know, new city, just experiencing new things that you probably wouldn't, places you probably wouldn't get to go to without, you know, playing basketball. And for me, this is my third year here. You know, them it's their fourth, so it's just like a blessing that like we've been here every year that we've been here. You know, there's a lot of people on a lot of teams that only go here once or haven't been here at all. So it's just the atmosphere and knowing how blessed you are to be here. That's what makes it special.
Linworthy, Salt Lake Tribune. You guys mentioned that it's, you know, obviously it's not a guarantee to get back here, but you guys have been here every year. What do you think it is that about the program with, you know, different coaches, different conferences that has sort of led to this sustained success?
I would say the mindset. You know, when you come to VCU, you got to have a certain mindset, which is a winning mindset. You know, you got to be prepared to work, you got to be ready to work hard, and you know, you got to expect this. You know, we work hard in the off season and preseason for situations like this and moments like this, and so I would just say mindset.
I would just say, I mean, going along with Jaquan, just the type of recruits, the players we recruit, the gritty, the tough, hardworking, always willing to get in the gym, always doing what's willing to be done to earn a team victory. No matter if you score 0 points, you score 20 points. At VCU, we're just all about winning, and we're just all about taking steps forward and becoming a better program and a better team. So I think we have guys that buy into the system and the culture, and it's kind of traveled. Even though Coach Smart has left, Coach Wade's brought that same winning mentality here, and everybody just wants to win. And at the end of the day, that's the goal. So I think with everybody having that mindset, that's what makes us so good.
I think the older guys do a good job of making sure that the young guys buy in, because you know sometimes they coming from whatever high school programs they was at that they're used to doing whatever. It's just there's a different style. Like it's not easy being where we're at. You know, the preseason is like really tough, and the workouts be extremely tough. So it's just everybody like falls in line and just buys into the process. So I think that's the reason. That's one of the big reasons why we're here all the time.
Okay, any more questions for our student athletes? Okay, gentlemen, thank you, congratulations, and best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
VCU head coach Will Wade will follow in about 5 minutes. Okay, introduce VCU head coach Will Wade. We'll start with an opening statement from Coach Wade and then open up questions.
Well, happy to be here. Beautiful city. We've had great hosts, and it's been fun so far. So we're looking forward. Big challenge tomorrow with St. Mary's. Probably the best, the best offensive team we've played all season. They do a tremendous job. I don't know if I've seen a team in college basketball that their defense and offense match as well as St. Mary's. You know, the way they play defensively matches so well with what they do offensively, and they just are able to kind of grind you into submission a lot of the time with what they do. I don't know Coach Bennett at all, but he's obviously a phenomenal coach, done a tremendous job with the program and their style of play and what they do, and they recruit very well to that style of play. So be a big challenge for us tomorrow, but we're excited to be back in the tournament and ready to get going tomorrow.
Okay, we'll open up for questions. Down here.
John Kuhn, Sports Exchange. You mentioned the defense with St. Mary's. They're number 2 in the nation in scoring defense behind Virginia. What, in your mind, really stands out about that defense? What makes it so effective in shutting down opponents?
Well, I think the first thing that they do, a couple things. One, they don't foul you, so they don't walk you to the foul line. 2, you only get one shot. The number 1 defensive rebounding team in the country, so you only get one shot, so you better make it a good one when you shoot it. And they do a good job guarding the three-point line. So you combine those 3, if you can guard the three-point line. It's really hard, statistically speaking, to be able to guard the three-point line and not foul at the same time. That's usually we're pretty good at guarding the three-point line, but we foul a little bit too much. So usually if you're good at one, you're not good at the other. It's very difficult to be good at both of those, and then you add that with the other teams only taking one shot. You got number 2 defense in the country.
Lynn Worthy from the Salt Lake Tribune. Coach, you guys have had some success in some close games, notably a couple back-to-back games where you won with barely any time left. What's it like to go through that and get wins? And also, do you feel like there's anything you take from that that carries over to the rest of the season in terms of close games or late game situations?
Yeah, we've been good this year when we've had leads late in games. And, we've been able to execute things. I think our guys have confidence when it gets down to 6 minutes. We always talk about the last 6 minutes of the game. I think our players have a lot of confidence in those final 6 minutes that we're going to be able to find a way to make it happen, find a way to get it done. And I think those 2 close games you alluded to, one was on a Saturday, one was on a Wednesday. We won with, I think, 0.4 seconds on the clock both times. I think those games probably added to our guys' belief in how we do things late in the game and how we do things in those last 6 minutes. So we were fortunate to win those 2 games. There were 2 conference games, 2 road games, 2 tough games. But I think it certainly helped get us to this point and helped our guys with their confidence in what we're doing.
Copeland, Associated Press. You touched on the St. Mary's offense briefly. Could you just mention, specify what stands out to you?
Oh, well, their spacing, their shooting, and their big guy. And so, they have tremendous spacing. They've got great shooting. They've got 3 or 4 guys who shoot 46 or 44% from 3. And then they've got a big guy who's going to be able to make a lot of money professionally playing basketball. So if you got a good big guy and you got good shooters and you got good spacing, that's usually a combination for really, really good offense. And so that's what they that's what they have. And it's going to be a tough guard. I mean, they'll set 4, 5, 6 ball screens in one possession. And so there's some games you'll play and some teams you won't see 4, 5, 6 ball screens in a whole media segment or sometimes a whole half, depending on who you're playing. And for them to do that in one possession can be very, very difficult to guard. It'll put a lot of stress on our ball screen defense. They're a good team, though. Very good team.
Michael Way, VCU Athletics. Coach, every year is different. What does make this team special in your eyes?
Well, we found ourselves as the year went on. I think we found our formula, pounding that thing inside. Our defense has gotten better. We've won a lot of close games. And so, we're fortunate to be back here. It's not easy to do. It's our 7th straight tournament appearance at VCU. And I think there's only 8 other teams in the country, or 8 teams including us, that have done that. And this is a hard spot to get to. It's a hard spot to get to, and our guys have fought tooth and nail. And I would probably say out of the 7 straight teams, this is probably on the bottom end of some of them that we've taken to the tournament at VCU. And, that's a credit to our guys for sticking in there. And we've played extremely hard, and we've dug out some wins, and we've won some big games when we needed to. But I'm most proud of our growth throughout the season. We're a lot better team now than we were. I mean, we lost our exhibition game to a Division II school. So we're a lot better now. I don't think many people on that night would have planned on sitting in here. So I think we're a lot better now than we were then, because we found our formula and done what we needed to do to get here.
Lynn Worthy from the Salt Lake Tribune. Coach, you mentioned the sort of the run of success you guys have had making it to the tournament. What do you feel like, and I know you've seen it as an assistant and now as the head coach, what has been sort of the key to the sustained success with different conferences, different people at the helm of the program? What is it about?
Well, a couple of things. One, we've got great support from the top. Our administrative support's tremendous. Some of them are here. But from our president's office to our athletic director everybody's on board and in line with what needs to happen for VCU basketball to win. That's allowed VCU to build a tremendous culture. We've got great fiber to our team. We've got really good fiber in our program. And it's part of what you were asking about earlier. Like, our guys never think they're out of it. We're always battling. We're always scratching. We're always clawing till the very end. But we've got tremendous support administratively, which is what's made it happen. You don't do it over 3 different coaches. There's been 3 different coaches during that 7-year, or 2 different coaches during the 7-year run, but we went with the third. We went NIT, and then we went 7 straight years. So we've really been 8 out of 9. But there's been 3 different coaches in that 8 out of 9. And so, you don't do that without having great infrastructure and having great people in high places at your university that allow you to support it at a high level.
Kurt Cragthorpe, Salt Lake Tribune. You mentioned St. Mary's grinding style. So if the idea is to speed them up, how do you do that?
Well, we'll see. When it gets into the half court, that's a big time advantage for them. When it's in the full court offensively and defensively, our athleticism can really, really help us. So we've got to get the game played in the full court as much as possible and for the biggest portion. It's going to come down to who can impose their will. If it's a grinded out half court game. Now, we've won some of those this year. We won 54-53. We've won some of those, but boy, it's going to be a tough road for us to travel down if it's like that. So it's going to be who can impose their will. If we can get the game going faster, that's obviously advantage VCU. If they get the game going to their pace, it's going to be a long night for VCU.
Okay, any more questions for Coach Wade? Okay, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Congratulations. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay, at 6 p.m. we will have the North Dakota Student Athlete Press Conference. Bill Wade, it's right there. And then we had Mo Alley Cox. Jaquan Lewis. And Jonathan Williams. One more. All right, one more.
coach sits here, is it good in the background, or you want to like scoot it over? Is it okay right there? Use those logos behind them. Does it look funny? Left, right.
Okay, as the University of North Dakota student athletes are making their way up onto the dais, we again will ask you to please raise your hands and we'll get a microphone to you. And then please identify yourself by name and by media affiliation. Okay, introduce from my left to right, senior guard Corey Baldwin, junior forward Rick Bernstein, and senior guard Quentin Hooker. And we'll now open up for questions for our student athletes.
Hi guys, Wayne Nelson, Grand Forks Herald. Can each of you talk, everybody has expectations about a 15 versus a 2. Can each of you give your expectations of what that game means tomorrow?
I think for us, there's a history of, 15 beating 2. So, it gives us, a little bit added boost, to prepare and, get ready for the game. And, that kind of goes with, just how our team is. We're driven, we're guided, and ready to play some ball.
Justin Spears from the Daily Wildcat, kind of just for anybody. You guys got over the Weber State hump. Now you guys are finally here. What's the journey been like for you guys this season up to this point?
It's been an amazing journey. Everybody stood together since the beginning of the year, and we had goals that we set, and we reached every single one of them as a team. So it was just a great experience this whole year.
Rick, would you like to answer that as well, please?
I mean, as a team, we just came together. This was this is where we wanted to be at the end of the day. When we first started practicing in the summer, we were always talking about 20 and tourney. That's what Coach Jones always instilled in us. And from the first day of practice, we just always wanted to work as hard as we possibly could so we can get here, and that's why we're here, I believe.
Christopher Deek, Arizona Daily Wildcat. Coach Jones has mentioned that after you guys' loss in 2014 in the final, that some things changed within the program, and that's what got you guys here today. Can you guys all maybe touch on that?
Yeah, with me being here the longest, especially after that, I think just like the culture change definitely happened. With being so close and stuff like that, seeing how hard it is to get to that position, I think, the whole mindset really changed, being focused on and off the court, put in the extra work. And honestly, it really, especially came together this year, but I think last year was a big year for us as well, where we came together as a team and, got that team chemistry to where we were able to do what we're doing now.
Just to build off what Q was saying, ever since me and Corey both came in the same year, and Q, one thing he talked to me about when I first got there was just making sure that we all stay focused and that we just continue to build as a team. And most important thing is family with Coach Jones, and I think we really took that and really ran with it. I mean, all the guys are really close, and I think that shows on the court, honestly.
Okay, right there.
Saul Bookman, Arizona Daily Wildcat. What do you know about Arizona, Q? And what if you had to pick one player of who you would have to focus on, who would that be?
Right now, marketing's our, a big focus, just, being a big guy that can stretch the floor and stuff like that. So really, they're a long athletic team, that plays great D. So really our focus is, getting stops, rebounding. That's going to be a big expectation for us, is to lead in rebounding and getting out and going transition, just playing our game, having some fun.
Yeah, guys, a lot of them have been made about pace of the tempo that you play at. It's one of the fastest in the country. Have your wins been a result of an increased tempo as the season's gone on? It seems like you've played faster and faster with each game and the wins started racking up.
I say with that, it's just as a collective group, I think we just always focus on running. I think that's our best offense is transition, definitely. All of us really thrive in transition, from Corey shooting threes to Q shooting threes to just getting out and beating everybody in transition. I mean, I think we all do that really well, and we're really talented, and we can all push the ball, so I think that helps as well with us winning and scoring a lot of points.
Justin Spears, Arizona Daily Wildcat. Quentin, you said you guys were kind of focused on marketing and kind of shutting him down, but in terms of guard play, who's kind of somebody that you've been keying on?
In the point guard position, they all get out and go in transition a little bit, and, Trey is a great player too, so, being able to slow him down and, slow down some of his touches is something that we're focused on too.
For any of you guys, I was just wondering kind of what the atmosphere has been like on campus, around town, and was that fun or was it crazy and hard to deal with for to focus on the game coming up?
Yeah, it was a big win for the history of UND, making it for the first time to the tournament and getting back and seeing all the fans celebrate with us. It was just a remarkable experience. But we had one day to celebrate, but the next day was back to business, and we had to fly out and get ready to play tomorrow.
Kind of in the same vein for people who've been to your state but not to your school, what is it? Could you describe what it's like to the atmosphere of playing there, the fans, the expectations, all those things that make a sports culture?
You know, playing in Grand Forks and at the Betty is unbelievable, really. I mean, for the last 4 years, I've seen it, you know, go from, you know, a slight buzz to unbelievable. It's honestly, I think with our culture change ourselves as a team, it's changed as a community too for, you know, our support too. You know, Grand Forks has a long history of supporting their athletics, especially with hockey and football. And, you know, this year has been a great year for the university as well. Especially with 4 teams winning 4 Big Sky titles. It's been huge. I mean, you know, each season the crowd is getting, you know, another great team, another great set of students to support. And honestly, it's been great. You know, the entire town is just, like I said, just buzzing, full of energy, and you know, it's really something special to be a part of.
Along those lines, Quinn, was mentioned hockey. I mean, that's a huge deal there. Are you guys rivaling that now, or you know, as far as excitement, or how is that play out?
I say that we're just riding with them. I think they had a lot of success last year, and I think we kind of learned from that. Honestly, took some of their little traits and built them onto our own. And honestly, it's not really a rivalry between us. We're actually really close with a lot of the hockey guys, so that's a great thing as well.
Christopher Deek, Arizona Daily Wildcat. Can you guys touch on what it was like when you found out on the selection show? You guys were just getting up in the air. Can you guys just take us through that crazy moment and what that was like?
I'll take you through it. I was actually about to fall asleep because I thought we wasn't going to make it. And then I hear everybody yelling, and we found out we was playing Arizona, and everybody was just so excited. The women's team was on there playing with us, and everybody was just rejoicing, man. So it was just like a great experience going up. So everybody was just smiling the whole ride.
You guys play a lot of games in your conference at altitude, like here. Do you do anything different to prepare, or you know, do you find your rotation is different when you're playing like this, or is it the same?
Go ahead. You got it.
For the most part, I say it's the same. Sometimes we do a little extra running, but as of late, throughout this winning streak we've been on, we haven't really done anything extra. I think it just remains to be the same thing. The altitude doesn't really affect us, I don't think. We just run at the same pace. I mean, as crazy as it sounds, you just got to push through mentally being tough, honestly.
Justice Spears, Daily Wildcat. You guys, Arizona and North Dakota, have had similar opponents, I should say. Have you guys kind of talked with anybody, for instance, Northern Colorado, about what they saw with Arizona and kind of potential ways to beat them?
Yeah, no, I mean, we've been watching, you know, their game film of when they played them, and honestly, Northern Colorado played them pretty tough too. And so, you know, it's somebody that, you know, we can look to see what they did, and that was somebody that we've been looking to also.
Okay, we have time for 1 or 2 more questions for our student athletes. Okay, right down there.
Yeah, for any of you guys are kind of the ultimate underdogs in a lot of ways in a month of sport that really revels in the underdog. Do you guys like that feeling, just kind of being unattached, first tourney bid, that kind of thing? Do you like being the underdog?
I say we definitely like it. I think even last year, just building off last year, nobody ever thought we would really be any good. We kind of snuck up on people last year. We ended up losing in the semifinals, but as of this year, I think we're still kind of sneaking up on people because they just didn't really believe it. Like, North Dakota basketball has never really been this great, and I think it's kind of something you got to embrace. It's a really good thing, and I think we all kind of take that under our wing and just walk with a chip on our shoulder, knowing that people don't really believe sometimes.
Just to add on to that, even when we, after we had won, you know, the regular season title, people were still doubting if we were gonna, you know, finish it out in the tournament. And so being the underdog is something that, you know, here at North Dakota, we've been, you know, for most of us, for the entire time we've been here. And so, you know, I mean, God has put us all here together for a reason, and honestly, we think we're a special group. So it's just fun to play with my guys and this team, and we're just, you know, excited to be here.
Okay, gentlemen, congratulations. Thank you, and best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay, Coach Jones will be here momentarily. It's okay.
Corey Baldwin, Corey Baldwin, and Drick, Drick, Bernstein, Bernstein. And coach is Brian Jones, Brian Jones. You're welcome.
Welcome onto the dais, North Dakota head basketball coach Brian Jones. We will start with an opening statement from Coach Jones and then open it up to questioning. Coach Jones.
Well, obviously, we're just excited to be here. It's, to me, it finally hits, now it's for real, I guess is the terms. Once we walked into this building, seeing the other team, seeing this environment, obviously just walking in here, it's not just Wayne interviewing me at the home facility back in Grand Forks, North Dakota. So it's just such a thrill to be here. I was able to do it as a player and as an assistant coach, but obviously as a head coach, it's a special meeting because you're the one running the program. So a lot of work has paid off, a lot of great coaches along the way, a lot of great players who are part of this journey with us. So that's why it's so special for us.
Start right there.
Justin Spears, Day the Wildcat. You said you were here as a player. Just kind of what do you remember most about being here as a player, and what memories have you shared with your guys?
The biggest thing is I played for Northern Iowa. We beat Mizzou. We upset Mizzou in a 14-3 game on a shot at the horn. But that was obviously a great scenario. But next year is the 27th year anniversary of that, and how fired up the guys are about that team and that experience 27 years ago. And that's what I've talked about. This is something you're going to remember for the rest of your life, and you're going to be able to draw upon through your walk through life, the good and just the life journeys. And I just talked to them, this is a great opportunity for you. Enjoy it, embrace it. It doesn't happen that easily, so don't get caught up and not enjoying it, because it's just too special of a few days for us, and obviously not just for the players individually, just for our university, for our community. So just have fun with it, because it's something really, really special.
Saul Bookman, Arizona Daily Wildcat. What are some keys for you guys personally in the game tomorrow, besides getting out and running?
Well, we talked, just tongue in cheek. We talked about a stat. What are some things we can do? I know we can beat them to the laundromat. We talked about that. We got whiter skin, more pasty skin, so we'll, as coaches, and bigger bellies and more bald spots. So there's some things we know we can beat as far as the staff. I don't know about the team. Yeah, running is a big part of what we do. The thing that I want to stress to our guys is that we got to be who we are. I think you don't get to the big stage and all of a sudden forget about what you've done through. For us, it's 31 games. So we want to be able to get out and play fast, because that's what we've done. But I think a key for us is we got to be able to rebound, obviously with their length, and value the basketball. They are so good defensively. I don't know, maybe they do, and obviously we're just getting the first time we're playing them, but obviously in the Pac-12 and just watching them from afar, I don't know how much credit they get defensively, how good they are. Not just their guard play as far as knocking the ball loose, but once you do get a chance to get your feet in the paint, their length at the rim. So we're going to have to do a great job of finding ways to get great shots, and that's not always easy against a superior defensive team. So I think offensively, we got to value the basketball. We got to be able to get great shots for us with floor balance. But defensively, we got to really just get back in transition and find ways to slow them up the best we can. I mean, we don't have the size, but one thing we do have is kids who are fearless, and they've shown that all year long, and just continue to be fearless and be resilient and find a way to stick around through the course of the 40 minutes.
Got a question right there first.
Coach, I wondered, do you look at the common opponents you had, Colorado State and Bakersfield, or is that, and did you pick anything up out of that, or is that too old?
Yeah, some of those games we did. We watched those. I'm a film junkie, so I try to watch everything. Obviously, that was more our level, type of bodies that we present against them. But that was so long ago. Obviously, Northern Colorado played well, but Bakersfield played them very well too. They both played a lot of zone. That's just something we don't do, and that's why it's a little different for us. But more importantly, I think it was when there's not a lot of film out there, and I think now there's so much film out there on each team, it's not as easy to sneak up on these opponents like they did early in the season. So for me, I try to look at I'm a coach that looks under every rock I can just to find an advantage, whether it's the first game of the year or the last game of the year. I've watched everything. I've tried to call some coaches, even just to pick their brain, but it's still, it's going to be a tremendous task for us, but at the same time, I'm very confident in who we are and what we've been about and what the young men will do once they step on the floor.
Okay, right back there.
Christopher Deek, Arizona Daily Wildcat. Coach, you said after the win in the Big Sky tournament that it was a culmination of a 2-year process. Can you take me through what happened through those 2 years to get to where you are today?
Well, it started even before that. I call it the lost year, where as coaches, sometimes we start recruiting a couple kids that don't fit you or got away from who you are as a program. So the year before that, we had a bad year. And I've always said I've learned so much about myself during that time. We took some transfers and some things that just didn't work for North Dakota. So that next year we recruited all high school kids, kind of like we've done up until then, and we took a trip to Europe. That was a huge, and I'm a proponent of that. I know a lot of coaches do that, but we were able to go to Italy and France 2 years ago, and that started the journey. 10 days together overseas, learning about one another in a foreign country, playing against high-quality opponents. And that's where I thought we had something. I thought we'd go over there and struggle, but we didn't. We won every game and played really well, and that just kind of transpired. And over the course of the fall, we were the 7th youngest team last year in Division I, won 17 games. And within those 17, we lost 7 by a total of 16 or 17 points. So we had a chance to win 24. So that's why I think going into this year, we've won a lot of close games. We're 4-0 in overtime, but it was all that part of last year, learning and growing through those opportunities and misses. And then our guys being so devastated when we got beat to Weber State in a semifinals when we controlled the entire game. So you have to go through that. You got to, just like me as a coach, I had to go through the valley. We had to go through the valley as a program to get to this mountaintop right now. It just doesn't happen at this level. So you got to really be able to appreciate and understand losing before you know how to win a championship, and that's what it took for all of us, including myself.
Sean Walker from KSL here in Salt Lake City. Coach, that kind of leads into my question right there, where you guys won the Big Sky regular season title here, and you still felt like a little bit of an underdog going into the Big Sky tournament, I think, just talking to other teams in the conference, and you were down late against Weber in that final. Have your guys kind of played with a chip on their shoulder here down the stretch late in the season?
I think so because, one, we've had to go through a lot of new things. We've always been to hunter. We haven't never been hunted, and we've never had the target on our back. It took us some time to get comfortable with that. But even with that, Weber and Montana are still the premier 2 teams in our league. We had a great year this year, but every year you're walking into that season knowing how can we beat Weber, how can we beat Montana, because they've done it consistently. So that's why the guys, especially the older guys who've been through it, understood that those are the programs that we always strive to beat. That's who I knew. We won the regular season, but even when we beat Weber at their place, I knew right after the game we were going to have to face them to either get to the championship or to win the championship. That's just the respect I have for Coach Ray, but obviously what he's done with that program. So, yeah, I think that's just, we've always taken the road less traveled. We went from Division II to Division I. That's people who don't know about, that's an extremely difficult journey because of the scheduling. The kids you recruit don't have an opportunity to play in the postseason, so you're not always getting the type of talent you need to compete. So yeah, it's just a road that's less traveled, but I think it's prepared us for today. So, and our guys, a lot of them were under recruited. We had to develop, so that's why they have that chip on their shoulder. They're still out there to prove that they belong, and they're great kids. But a lot of them were under-recruited or just overlooked, whether it was lack of size, lack of foot speed. So they're always out there trying to prove that they can play on this stage.
Right there.
Coach, just kind of following up on that, what was it like when you finally got there and came back from Reno? What was the excitement level around campus and town? And was it a balance to keep your team focused through all that, or did you just enjoy it?
Honestly, we try to enjoy it because it's hard. It's one, we had so we win the championship. We had a 4 a.m. departure from Reno to get home. Lovely weather there, and then the selection show. We're stuck on the tarmac, literally taking off. I mean, we're probably 10 feet off the ground right when they show Arizona and North Dakota. So we didn't have the selection show. We were celebrating in our plane, and it was a little different. But once we got home, we had fans turning up at our gym at the airport. So that's where, to me, it just shows you a small community like ourselves, just the pride they have in these kids. And our kids really they've rallied around this team the last 2 seasons, honestly. But our guys have really rallied around our community and our student body. So that's why it was such a special, like I said, it's more of a family thing. It's not just about our program. It was our community, too.
Brian, Wayne Nelson, Grand Forks Herald. You talked about rebounding as the key tomorrow. How important is pace for you guys? Does it have to be at a faster pace that you've been playing at?
It has to be at a good pace, but the thing is you can't, the old John Wooden, be fast but not in a hurry. That's going to be a big one. We gotta be who we are, but because of their athleticism and speed, we can't be sped up by that. We still got to be under control and be able to get the ball reversed side to side and stay within what we're trying to do. So we want to play that way. I have no interest in playing the game in the 50s. I don't know many fans or coaches or players that like to play in that style. I just want to be true to who we are and true to who I am as a coach. I don't care if it is Arizona. It could be somebody else. I'm still going to try to play that way.
Back in the back.
Yeah, Coach Chuck Culpepper from the Washington Post. I've heard coaches talk before about that possession-to-possession pressure in the conference tournaments where only the winner is going to come here. And I'm wondering what it was like. You're down 6 with 50 seconds to go, I think it is, if I read it correctly. And I was wondering, did that add something to this even though you don't want to be down 6?
You know what's funny about that? Leading up to that, we had a few timeouts, and all I kept hearing from the guys was we got this. We're calm. We just need to stop. So they are always communicating, never giving in or giving up. To me, that's when you know you got a special team when it's player led and confident in what they've done. That we had so many scenarios. Every one of our overtime games, we had 4 of them. We won all 4, and they've all been a similar situation. Where as a coach, you're like, how do we even get? Not even win the game, how do we even get to overtime? Because we had no business getting overtime. But just things fell into place for us. Our guys made plays when they needed to make plays. So that's what was unique. And even that one's probably the most unique one of the bunch of the 4. But still, once we got there, I felt this is what happened to us last year. Weber forced overtime with us. It kind of broke our spirit a little bit. I thought once we got there, we had them. We had them. And just because we had proven it time and time again, and our guys were very confident in it.
Right there.
Coach, you guys play a lot of games at altitude here at Reno, Flagstaff, et cetera. Do you change anything when you're doing that?
You know, I try to, as in practice, we try to do some more sprints, just more. We'll do some drills and make them run some sprints just to shock their system with that the day leading up. Because it does take time. It does take our guys a little bit to get comfortable with that. So hopefully that since we just played in altitude and last week and been doing it all season long, it's not as much of a jump, but it's definitely that first. That's why I try to get to my bench early in the games because it does zap you, and just for our guys to get to their second win. Once they get to that second win, they seem to perform pretty well.
Okay. Any more questions for Coach Jones? Okay, you got one more follow-up?
I still got time. Just wondering, how about the travel within the Big Sky too? Do you guys? I mean, it's not easy to get to some places. You guys are on the perimeter of it. There, do you bus, fly, charter?
Yeah, we are the Hawaii of the the East, but it's no beaches and not a lot of water. That's the way I view it. It's definitely tough. It's usually 12-hour days. That's why getting on this charter flight, we were a fish out of water, literally. A direct flight somewhere, and it took 2 hours. Our days are usually 12-hour days, and sometimes you still have to practice. That's what makes, there's times where I wish they would do a day in the life of a low major, mid major, or opponent like ourselves, just to see what these kids go through, because it's long days, and for them to perform the next night when they've had a 12-hour day. So it's been tough, but again, that's what makes our group who they are. They don't expect anything. But they go out there and try to earn everything. That's what's made North Dakota special. They're blue-collar kids for the most part. I think our kids across the board and all our athletics teams are really blue-collar and tough-minded because of all the hurdles they have to overcome.
Any more questions? One more right there. Okay.
Coach, can you kind of just talk about Quentin Hooker and just kind of everything that he's brought to you guys this year?
Well, he's a phenomenal person. I'll start with that. His character, just who he is. He's the Pied Piper. Everybody loves him, and he'll lead anybody and everybody that will give him a chance. So I just think he lives his life the right way. He's a great student. He's a great person in the community on campus, but his habits on the floor, he comes to work every day. He never cuts corners. and he's a winner. That's why, he's a young man that was recruited higher than our level out of high school, but because assistant coach and myself developed a relationship with him at such a young age, he was loyal. He had bigger opportunities, but he's all about that loyalty, that family. He wants to be a part of a program that coaches are going to continue to challenge him, but love him during basketball, after basketball is over, just be a part of his life once his journey's over. So we were blessed to get him, and he's been a program changer for us since he stepped on campus. So he's one of those guys. I know next year there's times that we all go through as coaches. You don't truly embrace it and enjoy it as much as you should while you have him, because you're so wired into what you're trying to get done. But he's going to be one of those young men that's going to make a mark wherever he goes from here. He's going to play professional basketball somewhere, so he's going to continue to make his mark in that, and then in his future as a father and a husband and all that. He's just going to be a phenomenal.
Okay. Coach Jones, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Congratulations and good luck tomorrow.
Appreciate it.
All right, that concludes today's scheduled press conferences. Again, a reminder of the game schedules for tomorrow, starting at 12 noon Mountain Time. Number 1 Gonzaga versus number 16 South Dakota State. Then approximately 2:30 p.m., the second game of the afternoon session, number 8 Northwestern versus number 9 Vanderbilt. And then the evening session will start at 5:20 Mountain Time with St. Mary's, number 7 seed, taking on number 10 VCU. And then approximately 7:50 p.m., number 2 Arizona versus number 15 North Dakota. All 4 games will be on TBS. Thanks.